Everybody, welcome to TTTT, Tracksuit Terry Tech Talk. Tracksuit Terry's Tech Talk? I like Tracksuit Terry Talk's Tech. It's 4 T's. It's 4 T's. It's 4 T's. Tracksuit Terry, that's me. This is tech, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so today we are talking about the Blackmagic 6K full frame. Look right there. Full frame. This camera came into our worlds about a year ago. Like I said, this is just how we use our gear. This is not necessarily like an unboxing or anything like that. People use them in all different ways. I love a Blackmagic camera. I love all of them. We have not gotten the Pixel 6 yet because I haven't seen a need for it just yet in our workflow, but I'm sure it'll show up eventually because we're doing just fine with this. The Blackmagic 6K full frame, also known as the Blackmagic Cinema Cam. I had the earlier Cinema Cam. The old Cinema Cam was in the big steel metallic body. It could put whole SSD drives in the side, which is a really cool feature, I gotta admit. I love that it just loaded the full thing, but the file sizes were huge. They never put BRAW on it. They only recorded their RAW in a, I guess it was RAW DNG. So what it did is it generated just thousands, if not millions, of little DNG files that you put together and turned into a video clip. Problem was, if for whatever reason on a transfer you lost one of those DNGs, you lost the whole clip, which was just kind of crazy when you work at a proxy workflow like we do, where we have some people working offline, some people working online. All that to say, this camera does feature my favorite codec of all time,
BRAW 12:1,
which is just an incredible codec. Yes, everyone is gonna say, if you're not shooting 8:1 or 5:1, I can tell the difference. Not after compression, no you can't. If you're making cinema, then yes, you can absolutely see it, but no one's consuming content like that. That's a fact. People are not going to movie theaters, so everyone's consuming it on a little phone. I don't have my phone with me, but let's imagine phone. Everyone's consuming it there. They're watching it on a streaming device, meaning it's getting compressed all to hell. BRAW 12:1 gives you a crazy amount of footage that you can put in one of these little suckers. So, onto this camera and how we use it. We like the CFexpress of it all. Now, I will say, if you buy this on B&H, and don't tell anyone, but if you buy it on B&H, they are going to recommend a Manfrotto card. That Manfrotto card cannot capture RAW. You need to go with the Angels and get the Angel Bird. This storage media is awesome and it's cheap. These are cheaper than the original CFexpress cards that go in the other 6K Pros that we have and the Ursa and whatnot, and it's just baffling to me. Love that piece of storage media. We prefer to rig it that way instead of with additional media on, although you could, if you wanted, take advantage of these USB-C ports and plug in an external drive so you can have tons of recording. These little babies are just cheap enough to make me want to go back to internal media, which I love. And then Blackmagic's kind of the king of internal recording media. The camera as a whole is great. It's very similar to the other pocket cameras. It's a little bit bigger, but you could shoot it. It still has that classic DSLR body. When we say DSLR body, a lot of us are talking about the Canon Mark II and Mark III because we all got really used to using that. And there's so much gear we have that was designed to be used with a DSLR body. So it kind of works in that aspect. However, it's got the same problem as all Blackmagic stuff, the battery sucks. So if you're gonna use this often in the field and not wanna worry about things, yeah, you could strip it down and go super light. There's a guy, I think his YouTube channel is Of Two Lands, who is a big Blackmagic guy, and I know he runs a lot of batteries, and when he uses his camera, he strips it down. But we beast mode this and use it as our primary interview camera. There's a big reason why.
Battery sucks, who cares?
You get one of these, and you slip it on some rails, and you add a little bit of a rail system. I also use this Kessler support. It's a little heavy, but our shooter kind of likes it to be a little heavier, but it's convenient because the rails go right in, and then boom, you have a V-mount that you can put right on top of it. Camera itself at one point went on sale for like $1,500, which was just wild. So if you picked it up then and got $200 V-mount batteries, the rail set, and the card here, you'd probably get out of the door for $2,000 and then grab a lens and you're good to go. How I rig this camera is a little differently because I like to have a top handle that can kind of not be stripped left or right. So what I did, I took a quick release, like a Manfrotto quick release, and I double mounted it up top, meaning that it'll never go left or right. You can't do it, the cage will prevent it. And then I took an old Ursa handle and I hard bolted it to a regular Manfrotto plate. This one's by Camvate. So that now we have a handle here that I can put on that will not bend left or right no matter how much I twist it. I don't trust any camera's internal audio, so I always use a zoom. Currently using this little f3 with this camera because at max on this one I'm probably going to need 2 ports. So this will take XLR and then I'll actually convert it out through the line out and go into the camera, which has mini XLR ports. So I'll go into the mini XLR ports so that way I can get channel left, channel right. But as far as mounting, we have a couple of different configurations here, which is why we put these classic red and black quick releases here so that I can easily lock in. If I'm shooting top level, then what I can do is I can look down and I can see my screen here and I can see my screen here as I'm recording. So that allows me to just stand just like this as a camera operator.
So, camera operator.
And I can see everything that's going on. However, that's not always convenient when you're interviewing someone, so we needed to make sure we could also mount it from the side. Now this is especially helpful if, for example, it's set up like this. So if I'm running camera and I want someone else to run audio so I can focus on the interview, what I'll do is come down like this, set the camera off to my left so that we're interviewing that way. I'm talking to the person, they're just looking at me. Meanwhile, out of eyesight is the audio engineer who's looking at the side here. So that way we can ensure that we have proper audio and not have anything between me and the client. I also shoot it in a third configuration, which is if I'm solo, what I'll do is I will add this fun little guy that we created, which is just a series of hot shoes, cold shoes, mounts, and quick releases. But what it allows me to do is bring everything to the front. So in this way, I can sit right here. So I'm viewing and I can see the screen here of where stuff is going on, as well as the audio. That's the configuration we're in a lot of times where you're kind of flying solo. And the reason you have to do that is because of the way this camera's set up. This camera is still DSLR driven, meaning it encourages you to look at it like this and to operate from back here. Yes, you can add a monitor and the whole 9 yards, which we do using this giant Falcam unit, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I'm totally sold on these Falcam designs, but the DSLR video shooter said they were good, so we have them. But sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Here's a crazy Falcam magic arm. So if I wanted to do some sort of monitor rigging or something like that, I could.
Pretty sturdy.
This thing can be rigged with a monitor, it can be rigged with audio, and can really be a powerhouse. But I haven't really talked about the main reason I love it and want to use it often. Main reason that I like this camera and the reason why we use this camera so often is because it shoots in a square. This is an open gate monster. What an open gate monster allows you to do is easily shoot a reel or shoot horizontal at the same time. With this camera, it's going to shoot in a box, which means you can just take the vertical right out and you have a vertical video ready to go without punching in or doing anything. That's huge, not to have to punch in, just to maintain the same shot and not lose any resolution going in or whatnot. You're just cutting off the sides. When it comes to landscape stuff, you can crop a little bit. If you have a little too much headroom, you can take that out, no problem. If you just want a tighter frame, you can take that out, no problem. So with the ability of this camera to go seamlessly between those two, that's what makes it best for an interview. The full frame nature of it, combined with the square box, allows you to create reels easier than any other device. Lots of other stuff shoots open gate. This shoots open gate in BRAW internally. That's the beauty of this little beast, and I know that we really, really enjoy looking at it. The colors are great. It's the same Blackmagic colors you have. It has great ISO range as well. You can shoot up at 3200 if you'd like to. This is one of those pieces of gear that really makes everything much easier because I already know our clients are going to want vertical versions of things, and this allows me to do it much, much easier without having to shoot crazy wide in order to do that same thing that I would on a 16:9 4K frame. So the 6K is helpful, the open gate is helpful, the BRAW is helpful, the form is helpful, and overall this is just a really helpful rig, and I think it's really made the quality of our interviews especially go through the roof. So that's gonna do it for Tracksuit Terry's Tech Talk this time. We'll be back with more because it's never-ending content. Take it easy.